Most crypto holders have been asking the same question. When will adoption come? When will utility come? When will institutions finally wake up and see the opportunity in front of them? Well, it looks like that day is finally here for us, and we're going to cover why, because we have major news breaking across 3 of our 5 pillars that I hold here on this channel. Again, talking about XRP, Chainlink, HBAR, Canton Coin, and Ondo. Looking at infrastructure moving forward. And there's been a lot of riff lately as far as institutional blockchain versus open blockchain. A lot going on with stablecoin versus tokenized deposit. A lot of combat, if you will, from kind of what maybe people wanted crypto to be versus what crypto is actually going to be in finance, right? Or at least what it's looking like it's going to be in finance. So I want to discuss all of that today because I do believe today is the day that we can point to as far as taking a real step forward in financial institutional adoption for cryptocurrency. So hit the like button. Let's hop into it. Today, we have some big news, folks. I enjoy these days because I enjoy the adoption element of it. But at the end, we do have to ask a very significant question. So first and foremost, let's hop to the news, right? So first and foremost, let's start with Ripple. We've been talking a lot about Canton Network lately, but this is a major deal for Ripple and for the XRPL. Let's pay attention to what's actually being done here. It says Ripple tests stablecoin with Singapore's central bank. Ripple is piloting its RLUSD stablecoin inside Singapore's central bank sandbox to power real-world trade finance payments. The system aims to automate cross-border payments by triggering transactions once trade conditions like shipment verification are met, cutting out slow manual banking processes. Exactly what XRP was designed to do. Pilot program now going live testing RLUSD. It does not mention XRP, but XRP was designed specifically to be a liquidity bridge for cross-border payments. We're seeing that pilot happen now in real time with Singapore, which is where Ripple basically sprouted its roots because the US regulation was not too conducive to Ripple. So while Ripple was being sued, they were doing a lot of work in Asia. And Singapore is a major financial authority throughout Asia. That's big news, guys. They're piloting exactly what we were wanting them to do. So now we should be able to see transactions come onto the ledger. We should see payments activity ramping up, and we should hopefully see that translate into appreciation of the token as more and more ramps up. Now, more to come though. Franklin Templeton is partnering with Ondo Finance to offer tokenized versions of its ETFs that trade around the clock through crypto wallets, bypassing the brokerage accounts and limited trading hours that define fund investing for decades. So again, more tokenized ETFs, more tokenized stocks powered by Ondo Finance. Again, how is it going to appreciate the token? We're not seeing that answered yet. This is why I've stopped adding to my Ondo bag, but I do still hold it, so I'm going to pay attention. But we can see everything moving on chain. Who's going to take advantage of things coming on chain? Now, let's move to Canton Network because I do have some Canton Network news, some major news for Canton Network. First, let's talk about payments. We announced yesterday that Visa was becoming a super validator for the Canton Network. They spoke about it. Let's see what Visa actually has to say about their work with the Canton Network.
So for us, this means we're taking a new step. Visa will be joining the Canton Network as the first payments company to serve as a super validator. Our goal is consistently to promote and bring to bear the privacy-preserving infrastructure that would help power stablecoin use cases like settlement, stablecoin-linked cards, and B2B cross-border payments. And as a super validator, we bring a little bit of experience to bear. We want to help run Canton and over time other organizations that can be with a similar set of credibility in how we operate critical payment infrastructure around the world, which means we want to help shape trust, governance, and reliability for the next generation of financial infrastructure. So for us, this means we're taking a new step.
Looks like Visa is picking their first blockchain that they're going to be using to settle their payments moving forward. They are becoming a super validator. And again, remember, super validators are incentivized to use the blockchain because they receive freshly minted Canton. This is something that we talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when we're talking about stablecoins, we do have to consider all things. Banks are using tokenized bank deposits to combat stablecoins. This was a report, rwa.io. We just published our latest research of tokenized deposits, the future of money. The report breaks down how commercial bank deposits are moving onto blockchain infrastructure and what that means for the financial system. Here's what we found. Tokenized deposits, stablecoins, and CBDCs will all serve different roles. They complement each other rather than compete. JPMorgan, Citi, BNY, Standard Chartered, HSBC, and Lloyds are already running live tokenized deposit services for institutional clients. Look at those names, ladies and gentlemen. JPMorgan, Citi, BNY, Standard Chartered, HSBC, Lloyds, all those names should sound familiar. 5 U.S. regional banks announced a shared tokenized deposit network in February 2026, signaling adoption beyond the top tier. 87% of financial institutions are exploring tokenization. Digital currencies are projected to process up to $13 trillion in transaction value by 2030. Again, I think that's understated. Global customer deposits totaled $103 trillion in 2024. Even a fraction of that moving on chain creates a market far larger than today's stablecoin sector. The regulatory picture is also shifting. The U.S. Genius Act provides clarity for stablecoins while keeping tokenized deposits under existing banking law. So tokenized deposits do not change anything. The UK's GBTD pilot is live with 7 major banks. The ECB is advancing the digital euro, and in the UAE, digital dirham has gone live on mBridge platform. Multiple currencies. The big challenge ahead is interoperability. Tokenized deposits remain liabilities of individual banks. Scaling requires networks that let deposits issued by one bank settle with another. Projects like BIS Project Agora, Partior, and UK's GBDT are working on exactly this. This report is shaped with contributions from the following companies: Standard Chartered, Citi, BNY, JPMorgan, Ondo Finance, Digital Asset, Canton Network, Layer 0 Core, BMW, ERC. You get the idea here? You see who's involved? Don't forget, JPM Coin is on the Canton Network. So Canton Network is strategically positioned to do tokenized bank deposits and is already working with many of these banks, including JPMorgan for sure, and BNY Global and Standard Chartered, as well as Layer 0 as a validator. We start to see the picture here, folks. Canton Coin is now live in Japan. The first listing in the country, though. It's the first listing in the country for Canton Coin, now live in Japan. And we saw a nice little volume spike this morning for Canton, spiking all the way up to 14.64 this morning. I don't know if that has to do with it going live in Japan or not, but as a Canton holder, it's nice to see number go up. And now for XRP, XRP's still hanging around $1.41. Bitcoin is not doing that much as of right now, still hanging around the 70 to 72,000 zone. Still in decision mode, it would seem. Nothing's making a decision of if it's going to go up or down as of right now. We are still chopping. All this news, and we still chop. This is why, again, I'm starting to ask more of the question, and a lot of people may not like it, but I think it's valid. How's number going to go up for our tokens? We need to start asking that question. So for XRP, we want to see more payments volume. All right, so now we got that pilot going on in Singapore. We should see more payments volume on the ledger. Not necessarily today, but we should start to see it. So if we go to transaction types, see the total number of payments is still hovering around 1.7 million. We did spike over 2 million a couple weeks ago. Account set activity has been spiking. Again, we still don't have an answer on what caused this massive surge of account set. Could have been that they were setting up for this pilot program. Could be. We don't know. So again, we have to look at what's actually taking place on these networks. What's actually being burned when it comes to Canton with the burn to mint ratio. We go over the statistics. We can actually track what's being burned. We can see number go up. This is one of the reasons why I like it. But that's just me. Because if any of you are like me, I've been around this space for about 7-8 years now. And we've been invested. I've been dollar cost averaging in for a long time. And they were speculative plays. But now we're seeing real adoption and real utility. Now we get to see what's transferring from speculation to real world utility. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. So let's get in on the chat, see what everyone is talking about today. Oh, I still had more info for you guys. I'm skipping ahead. So the Digital Asset Summit took place yesterday, and there was some good information. There's 3 clips here. They're about a minute each. And when we're talking about the value of our tokens, I think there's some good information here.
Well, we've got memes, we've got charts, and I'm going to leverage these tools to tell you all the story. Okay, we're going to start with a meme. We got a lot of good stuff going on here. All right, we've just heard from the head of our regulatory agencies here in the United States about how excited they are in this industry. We've got hundreds of billions of dollars worth of stablecoins coming on chain. We've got RWAs and credit being built on chain. Banks are all in. Stripe is building here. Everything seems to be the tsunami of positive activity, capital, and sentiment. Except for the tokens. Just don't look at the tokens. Why is that? What's going on here? I think if I were to ask any of you in this audience, what's the average price of a token done over the last 5 years? I think you would have kind of an intuition that hasn't been that great. Like, well, the industry's doing really well, you'd say. But how are the tokens doing? There's an uncomfortable reality. The institutional bull market is here, it is real, and it also has not come for your tokens.
Sounds familiar, right? A lot of people asking that same question about all this positive news, but we're not seeing any value in token. See what else he has to say.
What's going on? In one word, we have a trust problem. Investors no longer trust tokens. I'm going to divide these issues into 2 buckets of issues that are related. One is market issues and the other is information issues. Market side of things, we have too many assets. Got too many tokens, guys. It's fragmented liquidity. The barrier to entry is too low. We just have too many. It's causing these down-only charts. The next is value accrual. Okay, you've got a token. You've got a bunch of active addresses. You've got a bunch of network activity. What does that mean? How does that translate? How do I receive value from that? Then on the information issues, this is the actual core root cause of the trust problem that we have. If you are an investor today, you are flying completely blind. You are in the dark.
So there you go. Asking a lot of the same questions we've been asking. How does the token accrue value? And there's too many tokens. It's too fragmented. We've also discussed that during this next quote-unquote bull cycle, institutional cycle, that utility is going to separate itself and will clear the way. And a lot of tokens that don't have any activity or aren't accruing value are going to go away. These are some of the things we've been talking about over the last several weeks. Last one for you, and then we'll get into the chat because this paints a very clear picture.
What we're looking at here is total crypto market cap. Pretty good, right? I'm not a trader, I'm not a TA guy, but I could draw some charts, that are going up and to the right. Looks like something resistance is becoming strength. If I'm at home on my YouTube setup, I'm going to buy this chart. This looks pretty good to me. This next chart is the total altcoin market cap. So it is market cap of everything that I just showed you, but I've taken out Bitcoin and ETH. I don't know. Looks a little less good. Still good. Highs aren't as high here, but like I'm still feeling pretty good from a market cap perspective. The two things that go into market cap are the number of assets and then the price of those individual assets. So let's peel the layer back a little bit and look at how has the number of tokens in existence changed over the last couple of years. Whoa. Okay, so we're looking at a market cap which has basically stayed the same for the last 4 years, but the number of tokens has gone up by about 35 million. Not quite so good.
So there you have it. There's the answer. Everyone wants to know
what we're looking at here is
money going. Where's the money going for the altcoins? It's getting spread out across too many altcoins. Too many altcoins coming in the space. It's too fragmented. The market cap's gone up, but it's spread out. So there lies the question. Where is the utility? Show me the money. Sorry, Kelly, I gotta do it one more time.
Show me the money! Show me the money! Show me the money! Show me the money! You my motherfucker! Show me the money!
All right. Sorry, I had to do it one more time, but that is the question we're getting to. So let's talk in the chat. Let's see what everyone has to say today. Let me get back to the main screen here, and we'll see what everyone's doing. Hello. Our Angel was first in the house today. Stephen Haynes made it in here. Fishing Man joined us. God of Thunder says Canton and Visa is massive. Absolutely. I mean, Visa made it very, very clear. They made it very clear what they intend to do with Canton and why they are there. That was a pretty bold statement. What's going on, Kelly? What's going on? Driving me crazy. I can't buy Canton on Coinbase. No, unfortunately, it's not available on Coinbase, but it is available in other places. Again, not financial advice. I'm not partnered with any exchanges or anything. The only partnership I have as far as that kind of stuff goes is Caleb and Brown. But they do have it available on Robinhood, Uphold, Kraken, pretty much everywhere but Coinbase and Binance. Aloha, Gunpowder, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Raul in the house today. How you doing, sir? I hope everything useful coin wins here, whatever they may be, CC, Ondo, etc. Well, and to be honest, that's why I stopped accumulating Ondo, is because I want to see the tokenomics work. I want to see the tokenomics at work. So that's why I'm looking at Ondo, or that's why I've stopped buying more Ondo. I haven't sold it. I'm still holding on to it, but that's where I sit with it. What's going on, Charles? Welcome. Bro, I hope you address the impending explosion in oil prices and massive recession, if not depression, because of the war in the Middle East. I have discussed that at length over the last month or so. I still touch base on it about once a week. But if you go back and look, I have touched many times on oil prices, the Strait of Hormuz, and what it all means for the overall economy. I've kind of scaled back on that a little bit because people don't want to watch it, to tell you the truth. People are more interested in crypto news and less doom and gloom, but I do bring the full scope of the economy. I see a couple of people down there below mentioning the potential ceasefire. Again, I kind of hesitate to say anything on those things because every single day something comes out of Trump's mouth and then something comes out of Iran's mouth, and they don't make sense. They don't mesh with each other. Every single day this happens. They don't mesh with each other, and then by the end of the day, there's something else out. Like it's all theater. It's all theater. I feel like I'm chasing my own tail, trying to keep up with accurate Iran news, even out of the president's mouth. So, but yeah, we believe me, I am with you on the high oil prices and all of those things. Few crypto content creators seem to be well versed in geopolitics as it relates to financial markets. I mean, it's a risk asset. It's a speculative asset until proven otherwise, right? So until proven otherwise, it's still a speculative asset. And because of that, it's going to follow as a risk asset in the overall market. It's just how it's going to work. But at the same time, if we take a really good look at what's happening with crypto since we started this Iran excursion to whatever you want to call it, crypto's actually held up fairly well, all things considered. If not, maybe gone up a little bit or stayed flat during this whole excursion. Now, how long will that last? Who knows? You know, once people start feeling it more at the pump, and then again, whenever we're talking about high oil prices and high energy prices, remember, we feel it at the pump first, but it's not till 3 to 6 months later that we start feeling it in the rest of goods, right? The cost of producing plastic has almost doubled since this started. We haven't felt that in our packaging costs for our food and all of those things yet, okay? We haven't felt the full cost and the increase in shipping prices because diesel's gone up $1 in a matter of a week. Like, this stuff catches up 3 to 6 months down the road. I mean, we can talk macro geopolitics if you guys want. I'm very well versed. We can go. We can talk about it, but just a lot of people, they don't want to hear that nonsense, or, you know, I don't want to say that's nonsense. It's the truth. They don't want to hear that truth. They want to hear, you know, narrative speculation about their favorite tokens most of the time. So I have to draw a very fine line of tying those two together. Tony says Zebek. I've got an eyebrow raised because of their. Here's the thing. If MasterCard becomes a validator or a super validator on Canton, I am all in on Zebek. If MasterCard becomes a super validator on Canton, I will jump all in on Zebek. Because we already see what Visa is trying to do with Canton now. If MasterCard tries to follow suit, which MasterCard already has ties to Zebek, and Zebek already has ties to Lattice to be a neobank on the Canton network. So if MasterCard gets in as a validator or super validator on Canton network, it looks like there's a whole payment stack starting to build on the Canton network, which is bullish. If we're being honest, because that means fees. Fees means CC burned. CC burned means good news for holders. Andler, XRP is probably being used to fund Ripple. Something is not adding up. I don't agree with that. I mean, to a certain extent, they are. The XRP they've used to help build their business, but we've known that. That's not any new news. That's no different than a company going public and selling shares of their company, and then using that money to build out their company. But the thing is with the XRP is we don't know if you really look at XRP. Here's the thing that I like and don't like about XRP that gives me a lot of hope. We don't know who owns what with XRP. And we don't know what's pre-sold. We don't know what's hidden in those NDAs with their bank partners and things like that. For all we know, the government could have already pre-purchased $20 billion or 20 billion XRP that's sitting in Ripple's escrow. We don't know who holds what of Ripple's escrow, because remember, that could be pre-purchased and pre-contracted through Ripple. So we don't know the full scope of who owns what when it comes to XRP. Which gives me hope and doesn't, which could also raise an eyebrow. And that's where it comes down to when we've talked in the past. Do we believe Ripple? Do we believe XRP is at the center of what they do? They are the largest XRP holders, so for the price to go up is good for them. So it would make sense. Again, aligned incentives. And that's a risk we take. That's why these are risk assets. But when it comes to XRP, that is the biggest question, is who owns what of the XRP? Iran rejected the US ceasefire and then struck Kuwait today. You know what I don't get about Iran? I mean, I understand it, but at the same time I don't understand it. It's like they're pissed at the US, so they just start flailing and say we're going to attack everybody associated with the US, and we're going to try and create a world economic issue to make everybody pay. I'm like, you're literally just pissing off the entire world. Like, I understand you're trying to create pressure on the US, but all you're doing is pissing off the entire world to try and end this thing even faster. So I really don't understand the logic. I do, but I don't at the same time behind what Iran's trying to do. I mean, they're just trying to put global economic pressure, but it's kind of a backwards way of doing it. Did you see the US Visa press release about Canton from a bit ago? A great read. I didn't read the press release. I watched the video together here. You probably saw it, but I put the video up for us. Scott, you can do referrals with Robinhood, and the person who signs up with your link gets a fractional share. I think you get $5 or so. Oh, well, I mean, I could try to set up an affiliate link with Robinhood. That's never what it was about. Again, all the money the channel earns goes back into promoting and building the channel, because I want to grow the community to a different style of crypto community, kind of away from the pump and dump, and more around a long-term view, a more grounded approach to crypto, which you know that though. So I'll have to look into getting an affiliate link for Robinhood. You would think with how much I use them, they would have contacted me by now. Our Angel says about war, oil, global economic stagflation, financial collapse. Can't wait to show you my research. We'll be going over that tonight. We can get a full economic look tonight, Our Angel. It's gonna be a tonight, and again, if you're not, members only live stream is tonight. We actually do a members only Google Hangout on Wednesdays where we all just have a conversation. We talk about the economy, we talk about crypto, we talk about growing in the direction of the channel. Channel has been expanding great. I think the no nonsense approach to tokenomics and to the appreciation of how our tokens are going to make money is really resonating with people. I think a lot of people came into the crypto space on narratives and hopium, on as far as, you know, trust. Once we get adoption, the token's going to appreciate with the network. Okay, well, we're getting adoption and utility now. We're not seeing appreciation. So now we need to start asking different questions. And that's kind of what I've been focusing on recently, as well as global macroeconomics are going to have a dramatic impact on our economy and on what's going to happen with these blockchains and with these currencies. It all ties together. We need to understand the whole picture. And that's really what's cool about this channel, is it's really growing into that. It's amazing. The 30-year yield is 3 basis points from Michael Harnett. Says could trigger forced selling and pensions and leverage credit. Well, I will say this. I sold my treasuries this morning. And I bought some Canton at 0.1398 this morning. I made a very large purchase of Canton this morning, and it dramatically shot up to 0.146 about 20 minutes after I bought it. So I feel really good about that purchase. Hopefully it continues to go up. I wasn't necessarily trying to make a play on a bottom or anything, but it is nice when you hit a buy order and it goes up right after that. It always feels good. Raul says, I got some CC yesterday waiting for my price to hit today so I can get some more. All right. Iran trying to throw turds into the punch bowl. Exactly. They're just trying to stir up everything and make it a problem. Andler Joseph, I appreciate your channel. I had no idea about CC until I got to see your vids. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I'm starting to notice that I'm kind of starting to become what's the word I'm looking for? Oh gosh. Darn stroke brain is not working for me right now. I'm kind of becoming like the appointed spokesperson, or not spokesperson, but like the unappointed Canton video guy, it seems like, or the unappointed Canton streamer. My brain was not braining there for a second. All right, so let's see. Let's look at this resident expert on Canton. Thank you. Thank you for getting my words together for me there, Charles. The brain was not braining for me. Let's close out this poll though real quick. Let me see here if it'll let me. Close poll. Close the poll. It's not closing. Every time I pop out the chat, it always messes up. Let's do a recap for anyone who came in late here. There's still quite a few people who had just jumped in recently, so let me get you guys caught up. So everyone has all the news today, and then we will get back into the chat. Let's see here. Let me pull up the news. There we go. Boom. All right, so today we were talking about Wall Street. Wall Street finally coming to blockchain. This is what we've been waiting for years. Anyone who's been, I've been in the space since 2018, but anyone who's been here for a while, we all have been waiting for the same thing, and that is for utility to come on chain to show token appreciation, not just for XRP, but for many of the other chains, right? For your Ondo, for your HBAR, for your Chainlink, whatever altcoin you have aside from Ethereum or, obviously Bitcoin's not an altcoin. But we've been looking and waiting for utility to come on chain because we were promised that as utility comes on chains, we'll see the appreciation in the native token. Well, we're getting utility, we're getting clarity, we're getting direction, we're getting bank adoption and participation. We're not seeing it translate to token appreciation yet. So when we're talking about this, why are we here today? Well, let's start with number one. Ripple attests the stablecoin with Singapore's central bank. Ripple is piloting its RLUSD stablecoin inside Singapore's central bank sandbox to power real-world trade finance payments. The system aims to automate cross-border payments by triggering transactions once trade conditions like shipment verification are met, cutting out slow manual banking processes. This is exactly what XRP and the XRPL was designed to do. Precisely this. So we are seeing this come on. Now, this is a pilot, but we should hopefully start seeing that translate into payments volume. We should start seeing that translate into appreciation of price. If we, as this pilot continues and as these things grow, because we're going to see it continue to grow, we need to look for payment activity tied to price appreciation of the token. That's what we were promised. That's what we're looking for. It's time to see if XRP is truly at the center. Now we have things to watch for. Franklin Templeton is partnering with Ondo Finance to offer tokenized versions of its ETFs that trade around the clock through crypto wallets, bypassing the brokerage accounts and limited trading hours that have defined fund investing for decades. Again, Ondo is tokenizing everything. Every week we hear about a different tokenization product for Ondo. What's happening to the token price? How is the token price for Ondo going to go up? We've seen millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of tokenization from Ondo. It has not reflected in anything in price. That's why I've stopped accumulating Ondo. I still hold it. I haven't sold it, but I want to see the number go up. Now, when we're talking about tokenomics, that's why I love Canton. What does Visa have to say about Canton?
So for us, this means we're taking a new step. Visa will be joining the Canton Network as the first payments company to serve as a super validator. Our goal is consistently to promote and bring to bear the privacy-preserving infrastructure that would help power stablecoin use cases like settlement, stablecoin-linked cards, and B2B cross-border payments. And as a super validator, we bring a little bit of experience to bear. We want to help run Canton and over time other organizations that can be with a similar set of credibility in how we operate critical payment infrastructure around the world. which means we want to help shape trust, governance, and reliability for the next generation of financial infrastructure. So for us,
All
this
right,
means
so
we're taking a
Visa
new
becoming a super validator for the Canton Network, bringing their payments infrastructure to Canton. Again, this is major. This is the biggest payments provider in the world. Just went on Canton Network. If MasterCard follows suit and they're tied to Xebec and Lattice, right? Xebec and Lattice is on the Canton Network. If MasterCard follows suit, that's a payments powerhouse. That's a payments monopoly that's living on the Canton Network. This is what we have to watch for when we're talking about utility. Now, we talked about tokenized bank deposits. Tokenized bank deposits are the combatant to stablecoins, if you will. This says they're not. This says tokenized deposits, stablecoins, and CBDCs serve different roles. They complement each other rather than compete. JPMorgan, Citi, BNY, Standard Chartered, HSBC, and Lloyds are already running live tokenized deposit services for institutional clients. A lot of these names sound familiar, don't they? Where are they running their tokenized deposits, ladies and gentlemen? We know this one for sure. We know this one, and we know this one. All have already been announced with Canton Network. And don't forget, BNY is invested in the Canton Network, so is Citi, and so is Standard Chartered. 5 U.S. regional banks announced a shared tokenized deposit network in February 2026, signaling adoption beyond top tier. 87% of financial institutions are exploring tokenization. Digital currencies are projected to process up to $13 trillion in transaction value by 2030, and I believe that's understated. Global customer deposits totaled $103 trillion in 2024. Even a fraction of that moving on chain creates a market far larger than today's stablecoin sector. Again, guys, tokenized deposits coming on chain. Look who was a part of this report. This report was shaped with contributions from 15 organizations, including Standard Chartered, Citi, BNY, JPMorgan, Ondo Finance, Digital Asset, Canton Network, Layer Zero. Remember, Layer Zero is backed by ARK Invest, BMW, Abnamero, ERC, whatever, and I can't remember all these, Cambridge University, and Alchemy. Alchemy is also part of Canton. The big money is sticking together, folks. Canton Coin is now live in Japan, first listing in the country through SBI Venture Capitalism. Now listed in Japan as of this morning. And that is the recap for anyone who came in late, but some fun news for anyone, not this one. Oh, I lost it. It's in my bookmarks. I like to bring up some fun news. I don't know if you guys saw this from oh, here it is. I don't know if you guys saw this from Yahoo Finance. NASA announced plans to spend $20 billion building a base on the surface of the moon. So we're actually going to have a moon base. They're building it over the next 7 years. We're actually going to have some kind of base on the moon. Isn't that crazy? In our lifetime, we're going to see that. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to take a trip to the moon in our lifetime. Never know. I think that'd be pretty cool. Some food for thought. Let's get into the chat. Keep it rolling, guys. That's all the info. That's the recap. Let's see. Now we talk as long as you wish to talk. Or as Andy Reid would say, I got my Chiefs red on today. As Andy Reid would say with that, time's yours. The resident expert on CC. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Hopefully I hear back from Yuval soon. I'll let him decide how educated I am, if I'm doing it justice or not. Depends what tonight means. I'm 7 hours ahead. Here it's 9:30. I do the members only live stream at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But you can also, I can put my email here. My email is not private. It's also available if you just go to the contacts on my YouTube channel, but my email is not private. Sometimes it goes to spam. That happened to someone. I didn't know they were emailing me, but that's my That's my email for you if you want to send me something, R-Angel. If you can't make the members only live stream. Raul says you got his CC for nice. That's a good run today. CC to run. I think it's going to. Once the burn hits the private subnets, I don't see how it doesn't go nuts. H bar for the win. I have a nice stack of H bar too. I hold XRP, Canton Network, Chainlink, H bar, and Ondo are my 5 biggest stacks. I'm still investing monthly into Canton, XRP, Chainlink, and H bar. Free market capitalism should win out, even though there's 35 million altcoins. Those tokens eventually lose the liquidity as investors get smarter and funnel towards the RWAs. Yeah. And that's why I said I think the next push is going to follow utility, and we're going to see a lot of altcoins go to zero. We'll see a lot of altcoins disappear. If they're not, as people get smarter with their investing, once people get smarter with their investing, the tokens that aren't making anything will go away. Dustin Rice says, y'all get the man. Like, yes, if you guys want to see the chat, or if you guys want to see the stream grow, if you want to see more people participate in these conversations, build the community, the best thing you guys can do is hit the like button and keep engaging in the chat like you do. You guys, honestly, if I went through and looked recently, my channel has one of the most engaging chats on YouTube. Surprisingly, you guys do that. So, and the more we chat, the more engagement, the more it grows the channel. So awesome for you guys. Keep it up. The more engagement, the better. What the hell do we need a base on the moon for? They must know something we don't. There must be something on the moon. They wouldn't spend the money if they didn't think they were going to get it back somehow. They would not put a $20 billion investment down if they didn't think they were going to make $1 trillion. You know what I mean? That's what worries me about AI too. And that's a whole different conversation when we get in AI and we look at the amount of investment in AI. Like, what are they trying to do here? Like, what are they expecting to get back in return for this investment? Feed people on Earth first. That would be nice. Kelly says, what a waste. I agree. Thanks for the email. Sending my research is from Claw plus a few other. I got you. All right. No problem, R-Angel. I got you. What people do to know is it's going to be all stable coins. The new stablecoin does everything XRP does. The ISO coins want to be involved, the new Wall Street ecosystem. Well, it's not just stablecoins. And stablecoins, when it comes to moving value, they can't switch between other things. They still need a bridge. That's where XRP is still relevant. And when you're talking stablecoins and CBDCs and tokenized deposits and tokenized treasuries and all these different tokenized pairs are going to require liquidity. Otherwise, you're just moving numbers back and forth. If there's no liquidity in between, there's no value. So there needs to be liquidity. That's why they're getting on board now with stablecoins and tokenized deposits, because you're able to speed up the velocity of that liquidity. I suggest everyone look into the velocity of money. Just dive down that rabbit hole of the velocity of money and see where it takes you. And I'm telling you, it'll give you a whole new perspective over how capital flows and where it gets stalled and why certain things are important. Like when you start talking about repo and treasuries and all the crap that goes on behind the scenes, our little Visa payments that we make ain't nothing compared to what happens behind the scenes with trillions of dollars of assets. They know what's coming here. So of course they're getting the moon ready for habitation. Oh gosh, that's one way to look at it. Well, they say it's supposed to be done in the next 7 years. So that must be the deadline for whatever they're planning. Who knows? If you want to put your tinfoil hat on in speculation on why they're building a moon base, I mean, if something's coming for Earth according to that deadline, we got 7 years to enjoy it. The fact that they just secured the domain name aliens.gov not too long ago was interesting too. What can we do? What do you guys think? We got about 15 minutes left. Thoughts, concerns, questions? It's all up to you guys. We can just pull up, you know, stuff and mess around. I'll wait for you guys to get some chat going. Let me pull this up here. See if I have anything fun we can look at on the streams. But yeah, 20 billion NASA to build a moon base over the next 7 years. Source NASA. So it's real. And again, you can follow me on X at Longview Crypto. I know some of you are on there. And it is growing pretty good. X is growing great, but yeah, this Visa Canton thing is out of control. Franklin Templeton. We already covered that. I backed out of all the things I had from the... Also, the Tokenization Summit was going on today as well. I didn't even pull that up. I completely forgot about it. I planned on watching the Tokenization Summit today. But that was going on at 10 o'clock. Canton says Ethereum and Canton are not in competition. Public innovation meets institutional infrastructure through shared execution. Zenith co-founder Heslin Kim on convergence. I've been reaching out to Heslin Kim too. The Zenith Foundation's a really interesting project and how they're connecting Ethereum to the Canton network. Canton is up to it's down to 143 now. I had a nice little push there for a minute this morning. Felt really good about that. But everything's dropping back down now. Bitcoin's back down to under 71,000. I'm sure you've gone through it, but how will XRP scale their transaction per second if demand starts pouring through? I believe it around 1,500 a second. Well, actually, I saw a thing on X. Hang on, let me see if I can pull it up for you. Let's see. This was the question here, but I saw a thing on X as far as XRP. David Schwartz reached out to. Let me pull it up. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Did I bookmark it is the question, or did I just retweet it? Did I bookmark it? Or here it is. Yeah. So this was it. It says, David Schwartz reveals why XRP fees can suddenly spike without warning. XRP activity recently surged near 200 transactions per ledger, a threshold rarely reached in the network's history. And here's what it said. It said there are two very interesting things about fee escalation. First, if there are more transactions than the network can comfortably clear, the fee will escalate to however high it has to be to keep the rate acceptable. If there's even one transaction per second requested, then the network can clear. The theoretical transaction fee can go arbitrarily high. If the network maxes at, say, 200 transactions per second, then the fee will be whatever is needed to find 200 transactions per second or fewer willing to pay that fee. Second, it's the validators that negotiate the clearing rate. We won't let the network get as fast as the fastest validator, nor as slow as the slowest validator. And we always need, at the very least, a majority of validators, and could need up to 80%, depending on some details of how the blah, blah, blah. So basically, if the transactions per second start getting flooded, then they charge more fees. Looks like they charge higher fees in order to get the throughput down, is what it looks like to me from reading that. So there's if the nodes get overloaded, then it escalates the fee to slow it down, is what it looks like. So we'll see what happens as, again, this is why we want to see activity come on chain. We want to see the activity come on chain. We want to see what it does to the actual payments volume, you know, what it's actually doing to the checks settled and AMM and all of that. We want to see all the good stuff. That's what we're here for. All the utility stuff. See, like, but when I see stuff like this, like checks created spiking, like checks created and checks cashed, that's typically has to do with cross-border stuff. So we're starting to see more of this now. This is good. A lot of this checks created, checks cashed is going to be having to do with cross-border payments. we'll start to see a lot more of this stuff set up. And again, if you guys are XRP holders or Canton holders, I definitely suggest you have XRP Scan or Canton Scan so you can actually see what's taking place on these ledgers and follow the actual activity. If we want to see, if we're investing in a token, we should see it go up, right? We should see activity on that ledger. Why don't they ever mention XRP? Because they're not using XRP as the currency. They're using RLUSD as the currency. XRP is the bridge. It's the liquidity bridge. It's the gas. The only time they seem to mention, at least Ripple, the only time Ripple seems to mention XRP is when they're talking about it being at the center of what they do. But it's not, again, as we see transactions come on the ledger, we're going to see the truth. And that's what we're waiting for. We'll prove the thesis right or we'll prove the thesis wrong. But we are clear-eyed on what to expect, or at least I am. I want to see payments activity. That's me. I want to see the payments activity. I want to see, show me the money. Let's see. What's Canton doing now? Oh, it's back down to 14.2. Darn the luck. But again, we're here for the long view, ladies and gentlemen, the next 5 to 10 years, not the next 5 to 10 weeks. But that's all I've got for you today. I am out of info. We have covered everything twice. I've stalled as long as I can for y'all to get some more questions in. But I don't have anything else for you today, so I will see you all tomorrow at noon. Later.